that the Aghadi government will fight on. Is this just bravado, or does Pawar have a strategy? Is Uddhav Thackeray now literally walking on thin ice? Is his government about to come apart? Or can they find a legal, technical route to try and ensure their government survives? All that and more in our non-stop coverage of the Maha-political drama coming up on the Newstrack.
Shinde Sena locked, loaded and leading. Uddhav Sena in free fall. Historic low for Balasaheb's legacy. MLAs, Mahapawns in final battle plan. Mumbai ka king kaun?
Mumbai ka king kaun? As of now, the ball's up in the air. It looks as if Uddhav Thackeray is on a weak footing, but remember, Sharad Pawar and the Thackerays believe they can find a way to survive. Are they just clutching on straws? We'll look at that and more. Here are the headlines I'm tracking tonight. Shinde Sena's numbers continue to grow. Rebel Eknath Shinde flaunts 42 MLAs from Guwahati, tells his supporters that the National Party hailed his decision as historic. Big declaration by Sanjay Raut. Shiv Sena MP says that the party will exit the Maha Vikas Aghadi if the rebels return. Aghadi allies throw their weight behind embattled Maharashtra Chief Minister. Pawar says his party is with Uddhav till the end. Congress too stands firm. As crisis deepens in Maharashtra, Ravindra flies into Delhi, is likely to meet the top BJP leadership in the capital. After over 40 days in jail, Marathi actor Ketaki Chitali walks free after being granted bail by a Thane court. She was booked for a Facebook post against Sharad Pawar. The Shinde Sena looks locked, loaded and leading at the moment. The Uddhav Sena continues its free fall, with MLA after MLA heading to the rebel base in Guwahati. Today's image was a massive show of strength by the Shinde Sena. Flanked by 41 MLAs, Eknath Shinde flaunted his rebels, triggering a massive meltdown 2,500 kilometers away in Mumbai. Here is our lead story tonight.
Presenting the Shinde Sena. All in one frame, massive rebel strength on display. India Today's agenda-setting news break has escalated and unfolded into a clear Shinde Sena versus Uddhav Sena war for the Maharashtra throne. Look closely at this image. All supporters of Eknath Shinde seen together for the first time, shouting slogans of Shiv Sena Zindabad and Balasaheb Thackeray ki Jai. Not one, two or three, but over 35 Sena MLAs have rebelled against the boss Uddhav Thackeray, and he was apparently clueless. The veritable last nail in the coffin, the induction of 3 more Sena MLAs into the Shinde faction. This includes the Sena's most trusted Mangesh Kudalkar, Sada Sarvankar and Deepak Kesarkar. With this, the Shinde Sena swells to 37 MLAs. The exact number needed to split the party without facing disqualification under the anti-defection law. Shinde could next approach the Maharashtra governor to prove a 2/3 majority required to claim power. The rebel faction could then join hands with the BJP to form the government. This means that the governor could ask Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray to defend his numbers on the floor, which, by the looks of things right now, will definitely fail. But like a dramatic movie, there could be a twist in the tale. And nothing in Indian politics is over till it's really over. Uddhav's right hand, Sanjay Raut, still claims that 21 rebel MLAs are having a rethink and will ditch Eknath Shinde soon. And a final shot that the Sena is willing to walk out of the government if the rebels return to Mumbai.
त्यांच्या ताब्यातल्या 21 आमदारांचा संपर्क आमच्याशी झालेला आहे. कोणी किती फोटो आणि व्हिडिओ इथे पाठवावेत, पत्ते खेळताना, जेवताना, खाताना, पिताना, पण ज्या दिवशी ते मुंबईला येतील त्या दिवशी त्यातले 21 आमदार हे शिवसेनेचे असतील.
The Mahak Game of Thrones in its final scene.
In a massive show of strength, the rebel MLAs of the Eknath Shinde camp came together for a photo op in Guwahati. While it was meant to showcase their numbers and their strength, it was also aimed at dealing a personal blow to Uddhav Thackeray as he watched his party crumble. With Ajay Kumar in Guwahati, Polami Saha for India Today.
You just heard Sharad Pawar declare that he will fight on till the end. Is there any rational basis for his optimism and bravado, or is this just Pawar talking in thin air? Joining me right now is our crack team of reporters. Sahil Joshi leads our coverage on this political story. We've got Vidya joining us from Matoshree. We've got Ritvik Bhalekar joining us from the NCP office. Sahil, give your sense of what we just heard from Sharad Pawar. From what I could gather, he seems to want to fight. Is there some real strategy that they have which gives them the confidence for this bluster? Or is he just trying to project a sense of optimism without any basis for it?
Well, I can clearly see that his statements have changed from what he had said in Delhi, in which, in Delhi, when he took the first press conference, when he first got to know that Eknath Shinde has actually rebelled. That time the number was not clear. But that time he said that, it's internal matter of Shiv Sena, and that he was sure that Uddhav Thackeray will be able to tackle it. To that day, that is just 2 days before, and today what he said is that finally all these MLAs will have to come to Mumbai, because if the government needs to be, needs to go, then it needs to prove its majority on the floor of the house. These MLAs finally, eventually will have to come to Mumbai, and then we will come to know that who is at whose side. So that is a very compelling statement, number one. Number two, it looks like now that the NCP has realized that they cannot sit on the fence and look at the situation. They will finally, eventually will have to be part of the whole situation. Right now, what we can see that nothing is happening from the Shiv Sena side. If the Shiv Sena decides to take any kind of action, the Deputy Speaker belongs to Nationalist Congress Party, that is NCP. So, what needs to be done about these MLAs, eventually the call will be taken by the Deputy Speaker. So he knows for a fact that these MLAs will need to come in front of the Deputy Speaker, and that is where the fight starts. Now, interestingly, when Eknath Shinde spoke to his MLAs in Guwahati, he made it very clear that his speech made it very clear that the biggest party of the world who taught lesson to Pakistan is supporting us. So nothing to worry. Nobody should fear about this, and finally the victory will be theirs. What we are hearing at this point of time is that the BJP has promised Eknath Shinde that they will be getting the same number of portfolios what Shiv Sena was getting from 2014 to 2019 when Fadnavis and Shiv Sena were together in power. On the basis of that, Shinde and the clan is going to support the BJP, is what we are hearing. Devendra Fadnavis has also gone to Delhi today in the evening, and of course he'll be meeting the senior leaders in Delhi, and after that the game plan will be set. Now, it is said that in next 4-5 days something needs to be done, because the MLAs cannot be kept in Guwahati forever. They will eventually will have to come back, and then the real game starts, because that's what Pawar is waiting for. Now it is going to be, it's up to Uddhav Thackeray.
Is their affiliation so weak that they could come back to the Sena camp or the Uddhav Sena camp? What are they hoping? Because if they've said they're with Shinde, what changes when they come back to Mumbai?
Well, right now what we are seeing is that the reactions which have been given from the Shinde camp are from either Eknath Shinde or the Sanjay Shirsat, who released that letter and released then the video claiming that, how the leadership completely ignored what these MLAs wanted. Now, what Shiv Sena claims is that 18 MLAs, like the way Nitin Deshmukh, who was live yesterday on your show, at the same time one another MLA who actually ran away from Surat. Similarly, 18 MLAs have contacted Shiv Sena, Shiv Sena camp, and they are ready to come back. Only the criteria is that if they are in Bombay, then they can at least try to come out of their clutches and come back to the Shiv Sena camp. Now this is a hope against hope. Right now the fact remains at this point of time that Eknath Shinde has 38 MLAs who were elected on Shiv Sena symbol, plus he has 7 more independent MLAs with him. The BJP and Shinde camp have the full majority. They have sent a letter to the Deputy Speaker that accept that this is the main camp and not what Ajay Chaudhary and Uddhav Thackeray is leading. Deputy Speaker says that he doesn't believe Eknath Shinde, so eventually Deputy Speaker will ask him to parade his MLAs in front of him and speak on record that yes, they want to be with Eknath Shinde, and that is the real Shiv Sena Legislative Party, and that fight will only happen in Mumbai is what they are thinking that it should be happening. Now interestingly, eventually this war will go into the court, in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will finally decide that what needs to be done about this. But before that, the key question remains, if Uddhav Thackeray is going to take on this fight, will he quit before even taking on the fight? Because he had said it very clearly yesterday in his speech that he doesn't want to face the no confidence motion. He is ready to resign even before that. Will he resign even before facing his MLAs?
No, but as of now, he doesn't seem to be in a mood to resign. I want to go across to Paulami Shah. She's in Guwahati. Paulami, when are these MLAs coming back? Do they have a return ticket or a charter lined up anytime soon? What have they been doing through the day? We saw that one video of all these MLAs together. There's a big number. Sahil says 38 MLAs who fought on a Sena ticket. What were they doing all day long? What is it that you're picking up from within the Shinde camp? Paulami, give me a moment as I fix that link with Paulami. Meanwhile, let me go across to Matoshree. Mustafa Sheikh joins us from there. Mustafa, what's happening at Matoshree at this time? What are you picking up from the Uddhav Thackeray camp? We heard Sharad Pawar declare that he'll fight on. Is Uddhav in a belligerent mood? Is he determined to fight on? Or do you think he's also thinking about throwing in the towel? Because what's happened is hugely embarrassing, especially for Uddhav Thackeray, given that letter that's been put out levels all kinds of charges, saying that MLAs were stopped from going to Ayodhya. Apart from Aditya Thackeray, nobody else was allowed to go. Bureaucrats don't give Sena respect. They only give NCP and Congress respect. We are feeling humiliated. So this is deeply embarrassing for Uddhav Thackeray. Mustafa. Okay, I want to show our viewers this story about how the Maharashtra Game of Thrones is proving to be a nail-biting affair, with each twist more dramatic than the other. Today, 2 MLAs returned to the Uddhav Sena and alleged that they were forcibly taken away to Surat. Nitin Deshmukh even claimed that he was given a mystery injection and held against his will. But the Shinde Sena countered these charges. How? Watch this report.
It's the Maha war over rebels, and it's getting crazier by the minute. In the Uddhav Sena Shinde Sena fight, MLAs are top currency. No wonder that each side is trying its best to get the numbers. Hours after Eknath Shinde flaunted his MLAs, Uddhav Sena paraded 2 netas who had returned to the party fold. Nitin Deshmukh and Kailash Patil sat with senior Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut, alleging that they were forcibly taken to Surat.
आमच्या सहकार्याने सांगितलं की आपल्याला एक ठिकाणी जायचंय, तिथं आपल्याला साहेब भेटणार आहेत असं म्हणून आम्हाला मला आणि बाकीच्या काही सहकार्यांना ठाण्याच्या महापौर बंगल्यावर नेलं गेलं असं समजून आम्ही चालत होतो. पण नंतर ठाणे गेलं, ठाण्यानंतर वसई विरार, आता मला त्या एरियातलं जेवढं काही माहिती नाही, पण शहरं संपत गेली आणि पुढे जसं जसं जाईल तसं माझ्या लक्षात यायला काहीतरी वेगळं होतंय. त्यांनी एका मिनिटात
Nitin Deshmukh claimed that he was given a mysterious injection by the Shinde camp.
कोणी माझी कंबर पकडली, कोणी माझे पाय पकडले, कोणी माझे हात पकडले, कोणी केसाची मान पकडली आणि एका जणांनी माझ्या दंडामध्ये जोराने इंजेक्शन टोचलं.
Sena in fact called it a BJP kidnapping plot.
शिवसेनेच्या आमदारांना अपहरण करून फसवून आपल्या कब्जात भाजपने नेलंय. मी उल्लेख फक्त भाजपचाच करतोय. मेलं आणि गुलाम बनवण्याचा प्रयत्न सुरू आहे.
Then came the Shinde Sena counter-strike. These images of Nitin Deshmukh posing outside and inside a private jet. The rebels claimed Deshmukh came to Surat of his own will. And in fact, he is the one who took this selfie.
एकत्र केलं. खेळीमेळीच्या वातावरणामध्ये आम्ही नागपूर एअरपोर्टपर्यंत गेलेलो आहे. त्यांचे मित्र होते. मग गेल्यानंतर शटल प्लेन बघितल्यानंतर बोला आपण फोटो काढूया. आमचे फोटो आहेत त्यांच्याबरोबर. म्हणजे एकदम चांगले होते.
Here is Nitin Deshmukh signing the Shinde resolution in Guwahati.
रेजोल्यूशन में जो नाम है उसमें आपका भी नाम आ रहा है नितिन देशमुख करके.
नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है, मेरे को भी दिखाई दे रहा है, लेकिन सिग्नेचर मेरी नहीं है वो.
The Maha political blockbuster has had one thrilling twist after another. Will there be more drama as it nears climax? With Sahil Joshi and Paulami Saha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Paulami Saha is in Guwahati, right outside the Radisson Hotel where these MLAs have been lodged. The critical question now, is there any plan to come back? How long do they intend to stay in Guwahati? What are you picking up from inside the Shinde camp, Paulami? What have they been doing all day long?
Well, Rahul, as far as the Shinde camp is concerned, they have been, of course, trying to put together the numbers as we speak. At last count, the Shiv Sena strength in the Radisson Hotel stood at about 35. They're also expecting 2 more MLAs to join them, Sanjay Rathod as well as Dada Bhuse. So they're waiting for those two also to arrive. That would take Eknath Shinde's figure of Shiv Sena to 37. But it has also been something that he's trying to do, which is basically get the number past that 37 mark, sit on a comfortable number which possibly touches the 40 figure in order to ensure that even if 1 or 2 of those MLAs, rebel MLAs so to say, at the moment change their minds, clearly he is not in a weak position. He wants to ensure that. We saw that video earlier of Eknath Shinde talking of one national party which has said that they respect his historic decision. They think he's taken a historic decision and they will support him in manners whatever is possible. So clearly he is receiving outside support and he's basically going to try and ensure that the numbers are good enough to in fact stage this coup successfully against the Uddhav Thackeray government.
The things that Uddhav Thackeray seems to be banking on, which Pawar also seemed to suggest, is something will change when they come to Mumbai. How cohesive is this unit? Are they certain that they will now stay with Shinde, or do you think when they come back to Mumbai, when there are Sainiks outside their house, that some of that could turn, that some of it is actually fickle and they may be coming back like Nitin Deshmukh?
Well, at the moment, they appear to be a cohesive unit. They have, of course, put out those pictures, those photos, those images of, showcasing their strength. In fact, also, what we've seen is since last night, after that first lot arrived from Surat in a massive big batch, they have been arriving here in smaller batches, 3 or 4 MLAs constantly since last evening. Today, of course, 2 batches arrived, and we're expecting a 3rd as well. So, the numbers keep swelling as far as the Eknath Shinde camp is concerned. Now, if you just think of it, if at all more of these MLAs much of these MLAs were being forced or compelled to stay over here with Eknath Shinde, they would have communicated that to their colleagues, and those colleagues wouldn't have joined the ranks over here. So clearly, the fact that more and more people, and those in batches of 3s and 4, some of them have even gone out of the hotel, Rahul, and come back. They've gone to the Kamakhya temple, taken the blessings of the Devi, and come back as well. So clearly, they are very comfortable over here. At the moment, it seems like a cohesive unit, but with the passage of time, with the lapse of time, we don't know if it stays a cohesive unit, or if at all, they don't get the right kind of indications that they are in a position to form government, they will start falling apart or possibly going back into the original Shiv Sena fold. Rahul.
Okay. Earlier today, the Shinde Sena put out a letter which was addressed to Uddhav Thackeray. The title was Sentiments of MLAs. The letter was a point-by-point rebuttal to Uddhav's emotional speech. The letter mocked Uddhav's exit from Varsha, saying that all the MLAs were happy that the doors of the CM's house were finally now open to them, and also to the Aam Aadmi.
The gloves are off between Uddhav Sena and Shinde Sena.
माझ्या लोकांना म्हणजे मी माझं म्हणतोय ते
As Uddhav Thackeray tried to put on an emotional front to woo back his MLAs, the rebels have hit back with a scathing point-by-point rebuttal on why they chose to side with Eknath Shinde. Uddhav resorted to a filmy exit from his CM bungalow on Wednesday night, packing his bags and moving out to send out a message that he was ready to resign and the CM throne meant nothing to him.
की उद्धव ठाकरे मुख्यमंत्री पदावरती नकोत, तर मी आत्ता मुख्यमंत्री पदाचा राजीनामा द्यायला तयार आहे आणि ह्याच्यावरती विश्वास नसेल तर आज आपली फेसबुक लाईव्ह झाल्यानंतर आज संध्याकाळपासून मी माझा मुक्काम वर्षावरून मातोश्रीला हलवत आहे.
The Shinde Sena in its 3-page letter has responded by mocking Uddhav, saying, with Uddhav out, now Varsha has become accessible to them. With Uddhav out, the doors of CM's bungalow have been opened up. The rebels also detailed how they were ignored and snubbed constantly at Mantralay and questioned, why were we constantly humiliated?
Sanjay Shirsat said that during this entire time, as Shiv Sena MLAs were being humiliated while NCP and Congress were being appreciated and made time for by Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, it was Eknath Shinde who stood by them and in fact addressed their grievances and heard their concerns.
But there are two big sore spots, the Hindutva ideology and Aditya Thackeray. Yes, many rebels and even Shinde himself was angry at all the focus on Uddhav's son. Chief Minister Uddhav in his speech also spoke in great detail about Hindutva and reminded Shiv Senics about Aditya's visit to Ayodhya.
शिवसेना कदापि हिंदुत्वापासून आणि हिंदुत्व कदापि शिवसेनेपासून दूर होऊ शकत नाही, कारण शिवसेना प्रमुखांनी जो एक कानमंत्र दिलेला आहे की हिंदुत्व हा आमचा श्वास आहे. म्हणूनच गेल्या एक 8-15 दिवसापूर्वी आदित्य, एकनाथ शिंदे त्यांच्याबरोबर आपले काही आमदार, खासदार, मंत्री हे अयोध्येला जाऊन आले.
And the Shinde Sena has claimed that they weren't allowed to go with Aditya to Ayodhya despite expressing their intent to do so. The 3-page letter that Shinde's camp has shot off to Uddhav is a scathing indictment of the Maharashtra Chief Minister. Bureau Report, India Today.
For political perspective on the state of play at this moment, I'm joined by Sanjana Ghadi, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. Sanjay Thackeray joins us from the NCP. We've got Abhishek Mishra joining us from the BJP. Let me go across first to Sanjana Ghadi. Your sense of whether Uddhav Thackeray will be able to save his government, given the fact that 37 MLAs who fought on the Sena ticket now in Guwahati, it seems that the Eknath Shinde camp has been able to cross the 2/3 mark, which they didn't have till yesterday. Now they firmly seem to have more than 2/3 of the MLAs with them. क्या आपको लग रहा है कि उद्धव ठाकरे की सरकार की उल्टी गिनती चल रही है इस वक्त? आप म्यूट पे हैं.
नमस्कार.
हाँ.
मैंने आपका क्वेश्चन सुना और अभी बहुत सारे चैनल्स पे देख रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है वो. तो अभी जिस तरह से दिख रहा है कि एकनाथ शिंदे जी जिस तरह से वीडियोस वहां से भेज रहे हैं और कुछ 42 MLA वहां पे उनके साथ अभी हमें दिख रहे हैं, तो जरूर उन्होंने उनका 2/3 का जो मैजिकल फिगर है वो शायद पा लिया है. और इसके बारे में माननीय उद्धव साहब जो अभी के सीएम और हमारे पक्ष प्रमुख है, उन्होंने अपनी भूमिका पूरी तरह से स्पष्ट की हुई है कि आप यहाँ पे आओ, हमारे साथ बात करो और उसके ऊपर हम लोग रुझान निकाल सकते हैं. लेकिन साथ ही में उन्होंने मुख्यमंत्री पद, ये मेरे लिए कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. अगर आप साथ में आके हमें ये कहते कि हमें ये करना है और हमें यहाँ महाविकास आघाड़ी से बाहर निकलना है, ये जरूर होता था. लेकिन सब इकट्ठा होके कोई एक बड़ी राजनीतिक कट बना है और उस तरह से महाराष्ट्र से निकल के गुजरात चले जाते हैं और फिर वहां से बात शुरू करते हैं, तो इसका मतलब इसकी रणनीति पूरी तरह से तैयार है और इसके पीछे बीजेपी है. ये जो हम लोग गए 3 दिन से कह रहे हैं, अभी खुद एकनाथ शिंदे जी ने वो कहा है कि इसके पीछे राष्ट्रीय पक्ष है, कोई भी जान सकता है कि बीजेपी है. यही बीजेपी 2019 में यही एकनाथ शिंदे जी जिन्होंने कल्याण में अपना राजीनामा उद्धव साहब के पास दिया था कि बीजेपी हमें हर बार अपमानित करती है, हमारे मंत्री पद का अपमान करती है और हम इनके साथ नहीं रह सकते। और यही एकनाथ शिंदे आज ये खुद को लेके जा रहे स्वार्थ के लिए। उनको कहीं पे अपेक्षा थी, मुख्यमंत्री बनना था, उप मुख्यमंत्री बनना था, और उन्हें दिख रहा था कि उद्धव साहब या फिर आदित्य साहब जिस तरह से एक्टिवली चल रहे हैं महाराष्ट्र के राजकारण में, महाराष्ट्र के युवाओं ने आदित्य सर को सर पे उठा लिया था, क्योंकि उन्होंने जिस तरह से विकास के मुद्दे सामने लाए और जो विकास किया है मुंबई महाराष्ट्र
Okay, so Abhishek Mishra, does the BJP think this game is firmly in its bag, or do you think that he's outsmarted you once? This whole episode of Ajit Pawar and Fadnavis joining hands, at that time Sharad Pawar had the last laugh. Could it happen again? He seems to be determined to fight on.
See, Rahul, you have to understand one fundamental fact. The MLAs which have rebelled against Uddhav Thackeray, the Shiv Sena MLAs, they have been, since their young age, they have been fighting for the Hindutva ideology. Bal Thackeray ji always spoke that on the ideology of Hindutva. And Eknath Shinde is again repeating that he wants to follow, and the MLAs with him, they want to be on the path of Balasaheb Thackeray on the Hindutva ideology. And they also wish to support Bharatiya Janata Party, because BJP stands for nationalism, BJP stands for Hindutva, and BJP is a party which always focuses on development of the people. And BJP is a party which is accessible to everybody. So what they found under Uddhav Thackeray, that he was inaccessible, he had left the Hindutva ideology. Balasaheb Thackeray, in his every speech, would speak against Sonia Gandhi and Sharad Pawar, that these two people, Sonia Gandhi and Sharad Pawar, are not working for the nation, they are working for the self-interest. These political parties are transactional political parties, they only work for their financial interests, and it is only BJP and Shiv Sena which work for the nation, which work for the common man. And this was what Bal Thackeray taught them. That's what Eknath Shinde said, ki amara je shikavla. What Anand Dighe, who was the leader of Shiv Sena in Thane. So you have to understand, these all MLAs are united in ideology, and they will support BJP on basis of the BJP's ideology for the nation, for Hindu nationalism, cultural expression of Hinduism, as well as development of the people and the non-corrupt image. Imagine, they are written in the letter that two ministers in the Mahavikas Aghadi are in jail right now. So Eknath Shinde has many issues. It is the Hindutva ideology, it is inaccessibility of Uddhav Thackeray, it is the corruption which is going on. And he today mentioned that BJP has shown Pakistan its place through Narendra Modi's prime ministership. So he believes in BJP, he believes in the mission of Narendra Modi. And that's why all the MLAs are going to support BJP. And
Sanjay Thackeray, where does Pawar draw his confidence from? In that press conference, he's talking about fighting on till the end. Where is this confidence coming from? Is there any justification for it? What's
Rahul, that confidence comes from a long inning in politics. More than 50 years in national politics and state politics, that confidence is coming from there. 2 years back, 2.5 years back, this is the same BJP led by Modi and Shah and Fadnavis was shown their place in Maharashtra, this very assembly. So Pawar Sahab, whatever he's saying, he must have made his calculations. We are firmly behind Uddhav Thackeray as CM. We are firmly behind Shiv Sena as a party. Now let me answer what comments made by BJP spokesperson. He's talking about Eknath Shinde saying कि पाकिस्तान को जगह दिखा दी. भाई चाइना जब सामने से आ रही है, आपके बॉर्डर पे बैठ गई है, तो ये ब्रावाडो कहाँ चले गया बीजेपी का? किसान नाखुश है, आपका युवा नाखुश है, आपने जो अग्निवीर जो स्कीम लाई है उसके अगेंस्ट में देश में क्या हो रहा है, इसका भी तो जवाब दो. आप एक एकनाथ शिंदे ने एक बात कह दी और उसको लेके आप नेशनलिज्म की और इसकी बात करोगे. आज आपका जीडीपी कहाँ पे चले गया, आज महंगाई कहाँ पे है, उसके बारे में आप बात नहीं करोगे. आप सिर्फ नेशनलिज्म का झंडा लेके चलोगे, हिंदुत्व एज अ पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी लेके चलोगे, पोलराइजेशन करके आप पैसे का उपयोग करके और ईडी और सीबीआई का उपयोग करके आप हर स्टेट में सरकार बनाने जाओगे तो ये महाराष्ट्र में एनसीपी अंडर
Okay, stay with me. I want to go across now. Live to Phuket. We're joining us once again as Rajdeep Sardesai. You know, I pity his holiday. Rajdeep, every evening if you're dialing in, when you're holidaying, it's not turning out to be much of a holiday unless your morning is packed with action, in which case it's not so bad. But tell me, what's your reading of the state of play? You've got Sharad Pawar here digging in his heels, insisting he'll fight on. He's outsmarted the BJP once. Can the wily old Maratha fox do it again, or is he this time playing a very weak hand, just showing off that there is some bluster, but actually his cards are very weak?
Well, as we said yesterday, Rahul, at this very time, the Sharad Pawar Uddhav Thackeray game is to stretch this as long as possible and hope that the rebels tie around. That doesn't seem to be happening. In the 24 hours since we spoke, if anything, the rebel ranks have only swelled and actually are now inching towards the 37 mark of the Sena alone plus the independents. So now, in a way, the Uddhav Pawar camp is waiting for the rebels to make the next move. The next move likely is that they are going to write to the governor saying that this government has lost its confidence, also writing to the speaker or deputy speaker in this instance to be possibly recognized as a separate group. But even before they do that, they will claim they are the real Sena and they intend to call for this confidence vote. Now that confidence vote is where the Pawar Thackeray or Uddhav Thackeray camp is hoping that once these MLAs come to Mumbai, then maybe they can convince them, there can be a change in heart, there can be pressure. But to my mind, as of now, they are fighting a weak losing card because the momentum is clearly with Mr. Shinde. The very fact that despite Uddhav Thackeray's emotional appeal, the kind of messaging that has come from Shinde camp indicates that they are very confident that at least 40 Shiv Sena MLAs are with them. I'll tell you, Rahul, there are 3 camps at the moment. There are about 15 MLAs who are with the Uddhav Thackeray camp. There are another 15 who are firmly with the Shinde camp. And there are another 25, out of which there are several who have ED cases or agency cases against them who walked over to the Shinde camp. And there are those who are the floaters. These floaters may be targeted, but their numbers as of now are not more than 10 to 12. Is that enough? No. As far as the numbers go, clearly, this government seems to be inching towards a minority. What can they do? The deputy speaker may well disqualify some of the MLAs to try and send out a message to the rebel MLAs that, look, we are disqualifying some, the rest can come along. But this will then go to the courts. So you have a battle that will be fought in the speaker's office, in the courts, and on the assembly, and dare I say on the streets, where the Sena will try and use some muscle power.
One of the conspiracy theories doing the rounds in Mumbai and in Delhi is about how these Sena MLAs managed to go from Mumbai till the Gujarat border and then onwards to Surat with the Maharashtra police, Mumbai police escort, and nobody in the Sena government found out. The question is, and remember, a ministry like Home Affairs controlled by the NCP, whether there is some kind of an NCP twist in this tale where elements in the NCP allowed for this to happen. Otherwise, somewhere along that route from Mumbai to the Mumbai border, Maharashtra border heading towards Gujarat, somebody would have called somebody in the Sena or woken up Uddhav Thackeray and said, your MLA is running away. Do you buy that this conspiracy theory could have an element of truth to it?
You know, there is this theory doing the rounds, both about the NCP and the Shiv Sena, that eventually the Shiv Sena will also merge with the BJP and all this has been plotted towards that end. And the other theory is that the NCP, in a way, is soft on the BJP and wants now to, in a way, achieve some kind of a new arrangement. Look, I spoke to the NCP leaders. They are insisting that they are firmly with the Shiv Sena. They are, in fact, blaming the Shiv Sena for failing to keep their flock together. There are Shiv Senics who are saying Dilip Valse Patel, Home Minister, is with the NCP. What was he doing? The police comes under him. Look, that part is in the realm of speculation. I think we should stick to the facts. Fact one, Eknath Shinde, majority of the Shiv Sena MLAs by a large number, not just by a small number, but by a large number are today with him in Guwahati. Fact number two, Uddhav Thackeray at the moment is playing with very few hands in hand. The only hand he has is to hope that he can tire out his rivals and make a kind of emotional connect once they come to Mumbai. But remember, many of these MLAs who've gone are rural MLAs. They are from Western Maharashtra, where their prime enemy is the NCP. They're not going to come back so easily. I think it's become increasingly clear, Rahul, in the last 72 hours that this alliance, which was an unnatural alliance, is gradually breaking up. Even the Congress now is accusing the NCP of not addressing their concerns. So you've got a situation where the alliance seems to be fragmenting, even as Eknath Shinde appears to be consolidating. There's just one more piece in this jigsaw that needs to be fitted, which is the BJP. Whether it is in Delhi or whether it is in Mumbai, the top leadership has kept silent. They are waiting for Eknath Shinde to reach 37, write to the speaker, claim that he is the real Shiv Sena, and then call for the floor test. That, to my mind, will be the final piece of this puzzle. And therefore, as of now, all the cards seem to be with the BJP the Shiv Sena Shinde group, choreographed and supported by Ravindra Fadnavis. I can tell you at least one Shiv Sena MLA that I spoke to, who has since gone to the rebel camp, had told me 2 weeks ago that he was tired of the constant ED questioning. So the ED also role is being used in a way to ensure that Eknath Shinde's camp gets stronger. So all the signals, Rahul, are that Uddhav Thackeray is fighting a losing battle at the moment. Sharad Pawar, wily, yes, but a bit of bravado, I think, at the moment, hoping against hope that something will change.
I'm not going to hold you longer. Rajdeep, thank you for joining us. Ratan, Sharda, your sense of what the BJP may want to do. One theory is that they may get the Shinde camp to try and merge with them, as was the case, say, in a state like Madhya Pradesh, where Jyotiraditya Scindia and his rebel MLAs, in fact, didn't just leave the Congress, but they joined the BJP. The other is that they will try and have an alternate, the Shinde Sena kind of formation. How do you see the state of play in the BJP camp?
See, Rahul, first of all, we must admit that the audacious attempt of Eknath Shinde to take over the complete party is as audacious as Indira Gandhi's attempt in 1968-69 during presidential poll. She succeeded. It's not very easy to hijack the entire party. Even she was not that strong, but finally she managed. So this is a very huge attempt where the chief of the party has been left with just a rump. Never happened earlier on. It also shows that even the Darbari parties can be broken if the Darbaris rise in unison. Thirdly, we have seen that Ajit Pawar has today clearly said BJP has no role. It is typically Shiv Sena's problem. If you remember, 2 days back also had said that it is the fear of losing the elections again. It is the anger that they were never given attention by Uddhav Thackeray and absentee CM. All those together made Shiv Sena MLAs very jittery and very scared of the coming elections whenever they come. That future in mind, they rebelled, and now they are much bigger than anybody else. And also, if you see Nana Patole, he said that we will not treat it well again. So it was only NCP which was running the government well. Ajit Pawar was doling out the right kind of funds for people who wanted to do something, but all other people are left high and dry. In such a scenario, Eknath Shinde, secondly, somebody in Congress is telling just moments back that these people are conspiring. But if you see the way Shiv Sena has handled the entire issue, they were totally clueless. They were depending on Sharad Pawar. And if you look at Sharad Pawar, there are rumors in Mumbai that when the first attempt was done with Ajit Pawar, it was Sharad Pawar who played the game. He first encouraged Ajit Pawar to say that Ajit Pawar cheated the uncle is not true actually. So Sharad Pawar has been all his life has been a manipulator. He has never been a majority leader. He never got a majority. He never had his own rule. He always used to be doing manipulation of Congress, then his own party, then various other factions. So for him to think that he can manipulate again once these people come to Mumbai is a grand dream. I think it is taker of Shiv Sena. I don't think it will merge with BJP. That's a very strong guess I am making because there is no other Shiv Sena left. So I don't think Eknath Shinde will try to merge with BJP. He will try to keep the Shiv Sena flag alive, and there may be new alliance which may not be the liking of BJP as of now, but which may be the way forward. Because for all purposes, Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena is as good as just a rump now.
Oh, that's true. The fact that majority of the MLAs have gone away is very embarrassing for Uddhav Thackeray, the son of the great Balasaheb Thackeray, who couldn't keep his own team together. It's not just the NCP or the Congress which is the problem here. The problem lies within. Sahil Joshi, what's most likely to happen next? What should our viewers look out for over the next 24 hours?
Well, there are a couple of things which the viewers actually should look out for. One, now that Eknath Shinde claims to have 38 MLAs, when he is going to send the letter to the governor, now that Ravindra Fadnavis has gone to Delhi, when he is going to inform the governor that this government does not enjoy the majority support of the MLAs here, and the floor test should be conducted. 3, when these MLAs come back to Mumbai, as has been claimed by Shiv Sena and of course Sharad Pawar, will some of the MLAs will go back to a fold of Shiv Sena? Let me tell you very clearly, I think Rajdeep used this term, unnatural alliance. For me, in Maharashtra politics, there is nothing unnatural alliance. I have seen alliance in 2014 when Shiv Sena BJP broke on a bitter note, but after the elections they came together. The same BJP took outside support of NCP to form the government in 2014. In 2019, unnatural alliance of Ravindra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar took oath and ran the government for 3 days. So, Maharashtra has seen unnatural alliances even in the past. So, there is nothing unnatural in politics. Everything is natural and everything is as per the time. Right now, the time is completely, can be seen that, it is in favor of Eknath Shinde at this point of time. He has the numbers. Whether he'll be able to keep those numbers is the question. Secondly, Sharad Pawar still wants to run the game. He still wants to say that we are in the game. We have not given up. But will Uddhav Thackeray, try to be in the game? Will he try to fire some of the MLAs at this point of time to show that he's going to fight and not going to let it go just like that? The way he tried to say in his social media speech that he doesn't want to face the no confidence vote. These are the questions which needs to be answered, and we will get those answered in
sure,
next
but
couple
also
of
does
days.
Uddhav
What
still
Uddhav
have
Thackeray
the
does
stomach
is
for
going
a
to be the
fight?
key.
Will he want to throw in the towel?
Yes.
Go back to wildlife photography, or will he have the gumption for a fight? This requires somebody who's ready for the rough and tumble of politics. Does Uddhav have what it takes to fight this kind of a battle? That's the critical question. We'll slip into a break. When we come back, you've got Shiv Sena rebel MLAs flooding Assam, and there's a very real deluge the state faces as well. And the TMC is targeting the BJP government, saying when there are floods, the Chief Minister is busy herding MLAs. Details coming up on the other side.
Top focus at 9 p.m. on News Today. As the Maharashtra political crisis only deepens, we get on the show top legal eagles and constitutional experts to tell us what are the legal options available where the Shiv Sena is concerned. On the other hand, everybody's talking about that magic figure of 37. If Eknath Shinde has 37 MLAs from the Shiv Sena and bucks the anti-defection law, is it still that easy? Also, later on in the show, we are going to put the spotlight on a comment that has come in from the Shiv Sena that it is willing to leave the Mahavikas Aghadi if the rebel MLAs come back to Mumbai. Well, is Uddhav Thackeray ready to give up power for his party? That's the top focus on 9 p.m. this evening.
In Guwahati, as numbers in the Shinde camp swell, politics is heating up. The TMC hit the streets in the capital of Assam protesting outside the Radisson Hotel, accusing the state government of focusing on resort politics rather than the flood situation. Here's a report.
Shiv Sena MLAs flooding the state. And a real deluge that has displaced lakhs of people from their home. Two polar situations in the state of Assam, both connected to politics. Rebel Shiv Sena MLAs are holed up in this luxury hotel Radisson Blu in Guwahati, plotting on how to topple Uddhav Thackeray. The safety of a BJP-run state, a likely reason to fly to Assam. While the Bharatiya Janata Party officially is detaching itself from the Sena rebellion, this visual of Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma leaving the hotel where the MLAs are staying has turned into a full-blown political storm. The Trinamool Congress workers protested outside the hotel against the Himanta government, saying it was focusing more on Maharashtra politics at a time when his attention should be on tackling the natural calamity. The TMC netas upping the ante against the state government.
महाराष्ट्र का एमएलए लोग को यहाँ लाके यहाँ ये सब पॉलिटिकल ये करके रखा है, लेकिन यहाँ हम लोग के आदमी का क्या हो रहा है?
Congress leaders from Assam also joined in on the attack on Himanta.
Today, the BJP, in its lust for power, has become blind to the pain of the people of Northeast who are suffering from floods.
After the backlash, Himanta Biswa Sarma was seen visiting these flood-hit areas and supervising the rescue effort.
ইয়াতো আমাৰ গুৱাহাটীত ভাল ভাল হোটেল আছে, ৰেডিশ্যন আছে, তাজ আছে, গতিকে গুৱাহাটীত সকলো আহিব লাগে যাতে গুৱাহাটীত ব্যৱসায় বাঢ়ে আৰু এজন মানুহ হোটেলত থকা মানে আমি ইয়াত GST পাম, আমাৰ উপাৰ্জন হ'ব, গতিকে সকলো ৰাজ্যৰ দেশৰ বিদেশৰো পলিটিক্যাল এপিক সেন্টাৰ যদি গুৱাহাটীত হয় মই ভাল পাওঁ, খালি মোৰ হোটেল কেইখন বুক থাকিব লাগে।
The Chief Minister has dismissed comments of his rivals, saying he wants Assam to be an international political epicenter. For now, amid the flood misery, Guwahati has surely become the epicenter of the political quake that has jolted Maharashtra. Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.
Do the rising petrol prices and inflation scare you? How much do you earn in a month? Well, the World Inequality Report will knock your socks out. And why? Because it says India stands out as a poor and unequal country with an affluent elite population. 15% of Indians earn less than Rs 5,000 every month, while 22% of the national income goes to the 1% rich community. The report flags a drop in global income during 2020, with about half the dip in rich countries and half in low income and emerging countries. Are we living in the prime of inequality? In 2019 and 20, among different employment categories, the highest percentage was of self-employed workers, which was 45.78%, followed by regular salaried workers 33.5% and casual workers 20.71%. Self-employed workers also belong to the lowest income categories. The report pegged the country's unemployment rate at 4.8% for 2019 and 20, and the worker population ratio at 46.8%. Let's not forget that this was the same time when the pandemic had hit the world. Clearly, the daily wage earners had no source of income during the lockdown period. Now, to address the wealthy population. In India, the wealthiest households are in urban areas, with as much as 74% of the urban population in the two highest wealth quintiles, as opposed to more than half of the rural population, which is 54%, which falls in the two lowest wealth quintiles. Chandigarh has the largest population of wealthy people. 79% of the population in Chandigarh falls in the highest wealth quintiles, followed by Delhi 68% and then Punjab 61%.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.